Well, we've been talking about 5 centers. 7 continents, 5 continents, 5 outlets, and the land masses to which they are related. For instance, here, London, New York, Darjeeling. Let's see. Speculate quite a bit. London for the British Empire, New York for the Western Hemisphere, Geneva for all of Europe, including the USSR, Tokyo for the Far East, Darjeeling for all of Central Asia. So we've been looking at the continents, which are like endocrine glands for certain chakras activated in humanity at this time. We've seen that 2 of the chakras are not activated because the sacral center is fading and the base of the spine is not yet effective. And therefore 2 of the continents will not be involved as externalizations yet, or at least active externalizations of these chakras, and those are proposed to be Australia and Antarctica. We've seen that these 5 planetary inlets do not yet include South America and Africa, but that they may in the coming 6th or 7th root races when land masses do change. There are always changes in land masses when new root races emerge, however slow that process may be. We've seen also that New York is a kind of a nexus in 2 types of triangles that involve these 5 planetary outlets of force, and Darjeeling and Geneva have the most pure spiritual energy, and they are therefore the directing forces for these 2 types of triangles, with New York as the nexus. Now I suppose we're going to get into the rays that determine these centers. And he says it may be, so this is Esoteric Astrology 120C, it may be of interest for you, it may interest you also to know the governing rays and astrological signs of these 5 places. And you do wonder how DK determines this. I'm sure it's not by the kind of laborious analysis through which we have to pass, so far as they can be given at this time and during the present cycle. Because if the personality rays, for instance, of a nation can change, then why should not the rays of a city change, especially the personality ray of a city, and they generally are given as soul and personality rays. When you think of our own chakras, you kind of wonder, I mean, basically there is a major ray for every chakra, but could there be other rays associated with the same chakra, because cities are chakras? Anyway, forget not that the personality, I seem to be anticipating all of this, probably because I've read it before, long ago. Forget not that the personality rays change from period to period in connection with countries and cities, just as they do with individuals. And even the soul ray, of course, can change maybe once over a long period of time. Maybe at the outside edge, perhaps twice, perhaps. All right. Now we have the rays. The city, the soul, the personality, and the sign. London is a 5th ray soul with a 7th ray personality. That looks pretty clear. There's so much pageantry and formality in some of the old style of what went on in London, and its sign is Gemini, according well with the soul sign of Great Britain. And I believe that the, well, there is a Libra and Leo also associated with the personality, with the soul and personality of London. I'm not sure which is which just yet, but we will learn soon. New York has a 2nd ray soul and a 3rd ray personality, and its sign is Cancer. And it has indeed become the home to many groups who came from different countries during the strong period of emigration and immigration that took place 150 years ago, 100 years ago, in that period. Let's see, the sign Cancer is there, and interestingly, the sign Gemini is here for London, but I want to point out, if I possibly can, that there are more signs involved here. For instance, if we look at this particular table in the Destiny of the Nations, we see this is for the nation itself. I see that, and the capital city is not listed. Let's go here to Esoteric Astrology and look at London Ray, and there are two places here. Now, if this is okay, I have found a chart here in the Destiny of the Nations which should be a complement to this chart. You see, London is ruled by Gemini in one respect, perhaps in a larger sense as an outlet for internal planetary force. But if we look more closely, we'll also see that London has a soul ruler of Leo and a personality ruler of Libra. So the Leo and the Libra go along with this 5th and 7th ray, plus the sign Gemini. So London really has 3 constellations connected with it: Leo, Libra, and Gemini. And which is the most important, or which is the a triangle thereby would be created between Gemini, Leo, and Libra. Which is the most important of the signs? Gemini does correlate with the soul ray of the United Kingdom, the soul ray of Great Britain, and Taurus with the personality ray. When we come to New York, the rays are the soul ray 2nd. It's been very inclusive and very welcoming in certain respects. And the busy, active 3rd ray, anybody who's been there knows that, and that correlates well with the sign Cancer. But if we look further, we'll see that New York is not listed here. The Cancer nature of Washington is listed. And yeah, I think this is just a coincidence, actually. When you look at Great Britain, we see that it's ruled by Leo, and by Libra. Its major city is ruled by Leo and by Libra. However, the fact that Leo is the 5th sign and Libra the 7th is simply coincidental. The 5th and 7th rays are there, and Leo and Libra are there, and so there's a correspondence between the numbers, but that doesn't always occur. We will find, I think, another. Is there anything here that I have to look at further? Maybe not. New York, 6th, or, well, let's see, 6, maybe that will do it. 6 major cities, 6 major cities. Okay. Maybe that won't do it, but there is a 6th ray connected with New York as well. New York and 6th. There are 2 references. The force expressing itself through the center, New York, is the force of the 6th ray. And hence the conflicts everywhere to be found in the between the varying ideologies and so forth. So that is something that we have to factor in to the idea that the second and third ray are there. The busy personality ray in this major communication center is very important. And the emergent second ray correlating with the second ray soul of the United States. And I think what we will see here is that the United Nations has its place in New York. The second ray soul of the United States will be working primarily through New York when the capital, so to speak, shifts to New York. The second ray nature will emerge. But at the same time, we do see that the force working through New York is that of the sixth ray. Let's see in this area here. I have to refer to some other books. I'm going to underline a few things because we see here that the force working through Tokyo is I really should do this book, Destiny of the Nations, is the first ray in its lower and material aspect. Now let's see where else. The force pouring through Darjeeling is the first ray. All right? We have to have these to compare with what we are now studying. The force working through London, again, interestingly, is the first ray of willow power in its building aspect and not in the destroying aspect. This has to do with these centers as planetary inlets. Maybe as cities themselves, they have something different. The force working through Geneva is expressing at present ineffectually. It is the second ray. So we can constantly refer to these factors. We have the, whoops, that's a note. I don't want that. The first ray through London in the building aspect. The second ray through Geneva. The sixth ray of devotion and idealism, and America does have a sixth ray personality, so interestingly enough, the city itself of New York has this second ray soul, third ray personality, and an overall sixth ray position within the 5 planetary inlets. The force working through, what is the next one here? Darjeeling is the first ray of will or power, and the force working through Tokyo is the first ray in its lower materialistic aspect. Yes, he does hint here at the ray of Japan, the sixth ray personality. Japan is governed by the soul ray in the consciousness of its leaders. Its sixth ray personality is responding to the call of the first ray energy, and hence all of the present unhappy attitudes and activities, and hence also its link with Germany through the soul ray, which has to be the fourth ray for Germany and the fourth ray for Japan, the soul ray of both nations, and with Italy through the personality rays. Italy has the sixth ray, through the personality rays. The personality ray apparently is the sixth, and with Italy, the soul ray is the sixth. So it looks to me like the fourth ray soul of Germany and the fourth ray soul of Japan are together. The warrior aspect is present, and the fourth ray soul of both of them connects with the fourth ray personality of Italy, and the sixth ray personality of Japan connects with the sixth ray soul of Italy. All right. So these are references to which we will refer as we look at what is placed in esoteric astrology. So Gemini is the sign given here, but also, let's just say, no, that's not it. My friend Robert. Go a little higher. All right. Also here we have Leo and Libra. And we'll fill this in more completely in a little while. Cancer seems to be the sign ruling New York. At least that's what's given. We'll see whether any other signs are given. But there is the sixth ray in terms of the inlets, in terms of the planetary inlets. Okay. With Tokyo, the sixth and the fourth ray are found, and this is the, as far as I can see, the reverse. This is the reverse of the soul and personality ray of the Japanese nation. It's also ruled by Cancer, so there's a link with New York. And there is first ray materialistically. Okay? When it comes to Geneva, we have the sign Leo given with a first ray soul and a second ray personality. So the law is there found, and also the attempt to unite the nations and to work disinterestedly in the triangle of Geneva, Tokyo, New York. We have here as well the, okay, I want to do this correctly, the second ray, ineffectually, but still present. And when it comes to Darjeeling, it's the second and the fifth ray in terms of the city. So it's very interesting about the fifth ray because it must produce externally something that resembles that. It's ruled by the sign Scorpio in general, but also by the first ray. So we have three of these planetary inlets ruled by the first ray. And those are London in the building aspect, Leo, Libra, and I'll put it this way, first ray in the building aspect, and also Leo and Libra. We have New York ruled by Cancer in the set of planetary inlets, but the sixth, and also the sixth ray in terms of being a planetary inlet. We have Tokyo, through which the first ray materialistically appears, and the sixth ray appears as its soul, and the fourth as its personality, reversing, I believe, what is the soul ray of Japan, the fourth, and its sixth ray personality. And then with Geneva, a combination of the first and second rays. So perhaps Geneva is the most to be trusted in this respect. Darjeeling, the second and the fifth ray with respect to the city, and in terms of the planetary inlets or outlets, however you want to look at the perspective, the first ray in a very strong sense is there, and the power of Scorpio in relation to the first ray is also present. This tells as much about the future of these places as it does about the present. I tend to want to, go down to that area where Japan is being discussed. The forces flowing through Tokyo are those of the first ray in its lower materialistic aspect. Japan is governed by the soul ray in the consciousness of its leaders. Which soul ray? The fourth ray? Its sixth ray personality, yes, the sixth ray personality of Japan, definitely. So when we look here at the fourth ray personality of Tokyo, we see, or the sixth ray soul of Tokyo, we see that it is the reverse of the sixth ray personality of the country. Its sixth ray personality is responding to the call of the first ray energy, and that first ray energy is coming from the materialistic aspects of Tokyo, and hence all the present unhappy attitudes. Combine the first and sixth ray, you can get some very drastic things happening, and not always the wisest. And hence also Japan's link with Germany through the soul ray of both nations. Now, He doesn't specify that Japan's soul is the fourth ray, but it seems to me that since Germany has the fourth ray soul, we have good reason to believe that the fourth ray is present, especially since Scorpio rules the Japanese nation in its soul ray, in its soul aspect, and Capricorn in its outer aspect, and with Italy through the personality rays. Now, Italy does have a fourth ray personality, and there could be a link with the sixth ray of the Japanese personality and with the fourth ray of Italy. But the real link here, Italy has exactly the reverse of Japan. It has, however, the same configuration as Tokyo. Italy and Tokyo have the same rays because Italy has the sixth ray soul and the fourth ray personality, and Tokyo has the sixth ray soul, the fourth ray personality, and we're told that Japan has the sixth ray personality, and we assume that since it is directly linked with Germany through the soul rays of both, that it has the fourth ray personality. You kind of wonder, fourth ray soul. You wonder why DK was not more direct in saying this. Does he want us to figure it out, or is he blinding something? That is a question. Now, we could look and we could see whether there are other signs connected with, let's say, Darjeeling. Let's do that. Okay, D-A-R-J-E-E-L, Darjeeling. There's 18 references, and let's see what we have here. Darjeeling is the second and fifth ray, and it is Scorpio. Yes, we have that in the Destiny of the Nations, and DK is recollecting that material. Okay, second and fifth ray again, Scorpio. And, okay. I guess we're not going to be given other astrological signs for Darjeeling. We are simply given Scorpio. That's all. Okay. Nothing further. When it comes to Rome, it will be in a series of cities, I suppose. Rome. There are 12 references here. And let's see when it's listed in cities. Here it is. Rome, Poland, Italy, Rome. So we do see what rules Rome, and we see London, France, Belgium. But the only planetary inlet here that's being listed is London. So this does not help us in any further way. No, it doesn't. Okay, and when it comes to Geneva, let's try Geneva. Let's try Geneva and see if anything astrological is given. There's 19 references. Okay, there's no astrology given here, only Leo. Only Leo so far. Geneva, the Red Cross, it seems, since DK is behind the Red Cross, it would seem he would have a connection with Geneva. Okay. And we do not see for Geneva anything given but the sign Leo. So in the case of London, we're going to understand what are the three rays involved, but in the case of some of the others, we will not know. So New York will have to rest with the Cancer rulership, Tokyo with Cancer. Geneva has a Leo rulership, which connects it with the soul sign, or the soul sign of London. Scorpio, Darjeeling is not given any other astrology than Scorpio. And let's see, the Gemini of London connects with the Gemini of Great Britain, Gemini Taurus, but Leo and Libra are also involved. So we have Gemini, Taurus, Leo, Libra, and Gemini again. With New York, we have a Cancer city. It correlates well with the third ray in an Aquarius Gemini country, soul and personality ray respectively. With Tokyo, we have a Cancer city. Its rays are the first in the larger sense, and then the sixth and fourth in a Scorpio Capricorn city, and the Scorpio of Darjeeling correlates with the Scorpio of Japan. With Geneva, it's in Switzerland, and I think we're given Aries and Aquarius as the rulers of Switzerland. Let me just check that out for you. It's been let's say Switzerland. There are 12 references here, and we are given an Aries soul sign and an Aquarius external sign. There must be a great deal of independence there in Switzerland, and it correlates with the Aries soul sign of India and of Germany. So there's a triangle there as well. Let's see if there's anything else on Switzerland that is to be noted. All right, so this has Geneva, Switzerland. Let me put this in. Country, do it this way. Country, Aries, soul, Aquarius, personality. I'll put the countries in on all of these. Why not? Country, Aquarius, soul, Gemini, personality. We can see that the personality of the United States is correlated with London and with Great Britain. There's a triangle there, isn't there, between Great Britain, London, and the personality sign of the United States. So we do see the crossovers here, and I'll put in the country here for London. We'll have these all in mind. Country, Gemini, soul, and Taurus, personality. And with DK telling us so much about the difficulty of the Taurus energy, we can see that Great Britain has had a difficult time of it, and that its second ray soul has not easily demonstrated through the outer Taurian personality, which seems to reject, to a certain extent, the second ray. Okay, with Tokyo, it's a Cancer city, linking it to New York, interestingly enough. Many of these things are for the future, I would say, although there has been, I think, maybe an imitation in Tokyo of New York. It's certainly a bustling city, just the way New York is, New York City. And let's say country here. We have my proposal anyway, soul. Well, no, it's not a proposal. It's what is. Soul, Scorpio. Personality, Capricorn. Now we can also put in the rays as well, and we'll do that afterwards. We'll have this all together with Darjeeling. It's India. So first ray is here, and the country is soul, Aries, and personality, Capricorn. And that, of course, links India with Japan, which has its Capricorn personality. Now let's do the rays of the country. So we'll put it like this. Whoops, no, that's not it. Rays of country, and I'll make that something that I can copy. The rays of country of London, it's Great Britain, soul 2, personality 1. And that's going to fit well with the great first ray coming through London in general and the coming through Taurus. It's going to fit well with the Taurus external rulership. Now we'll do it this way. Rays of country. And I'll copy that whole thing for facilitation. We're in the United States, and so we have soul 2, personality 6. And that is going to link New York with the soul ray of Japan and, the personality ray of Japan and the soul ray of Tokyo. All right. Only ray 5 seems to be standing out as quite by itself, and it must be a much higher form of ray 5, which is connecting with Darjeeling. Matter of fact, I don't know enough about Darjeeling to know how its ray 5 works, but maybe if we studied Austria, which has a ray 5 personality, we may be able to tell something about that. It would have to be on the technical side, I suppose. When it comes to Tokyo, we are dealing with Japan, so the rays of country, soul proposed as 4, personality, we are told it is 6. When it comes to Geneva, we're in Switzerland, and no soul or personality rays are given. Only astrological signs. But would suspect the 5th and 7th rays for Switzerland, given their technical expertise. When it comes to Darjeeling, it's found in India. So we're dealing with the rays of India, soul 1, personality 4. And that 4th ray personality is going to link with the soul ray of Japan and with the personality ray of Tokyo. We do find a link here. I'm sorry I didn't pick that up. The 5th ray soul of London does link with the 5th ray personality of Darjeeling. So what we've done now is we've gathered a number of references and cross-references which should help us understand the alliances and perhaps repulsions between nations. I'm thinking about, the 6th ray of the recrudescent religions of the world. There's no question, but they are expressing the 6th ray. The Catholic Church is expressing, it seems, the 1st ray in its soul nature. Judaism is not a great force to consider, although the soul of Judea is on the 1st ray. And Islam is expressing, in my view, a combination of the 6th, the 1st, and the 3rd rays. Perhaps the soul of Islam is closely connected with the soul of Muhammad, who is said to have been a disciple of the Master Jesus, and so related to the 6th ray. The soul of Master Jesus was the 6th, or is the 6th ray, and I don't know, perhaps one of the monadic rays as well. And if Muhammad was a disciple, a high disciple of his, then we have the 6th ray, perhaps in the soul of Muhammad, though maybe a 1st ray monad or something of that nature. There's a great emphasis upon the law in Islam, and it's being pushed very idealistically today. These are intricate interrelationships and account for outer world developments. So if students will study this information in connection with that given elsewhere in connection with other nations and cities, all right, and that's in a way a little bit of what we tried to do. What we really need to do is make the links. Now, you know, for instance, with Japan and Australia and Greece, and is it India? Did I mention India? Japan, Australia, India, Greece. We have four nations with Capricorn personalities who may be going through a very destructive process at this time. With Finland, we have the Capricorn soul. So we should link all the nations in terms of their souls and in terms of their personalities. And when there are cross links between souls and personalities, we should note that as well. I'm thinking when I look at Canada and Japan, Canada and China, there's a very strong Libra-Taurus link. For China, it's a Taurus soul and a Libran personality, and it may be exactly the same for Canada. Why don't we take a quick look at that? This will really give us the esoteric perspective on how to interpret the difficulties and the contributions that we can expect. Well, it's the same. It's just the same as China. But the soul ray, of course, is probably different. Probably with China we have the first and third ray in the soul and personality respectively. And with Canada, probably the second ray and the seventh ray. A seventh ray personality, and probably ultimately a second ray soul. Since the second ray of the planet is to of the soul of the planet is to emerge, those countries with a strong second ray will tend to be conduits for the emergence of that second ray soul, and they will be important in terms of the Christ's expression as he reappears. And for hierarchical activity, we should look to second ray nations in their soul as especially recipients of the Christ force. So in a way, Great Britain and the United States and the satellites, or the original colonies of Great Britain, but now independent nations in their own right, probably have that strong second ray soul, though India threw off that yoke, and India has a first ray soul. So it was the personality of Great Britain and its Taurus nature which in an attempt established its authority over India, but more over the fourth ray Capricorn personality of India, and not ever over his first ray Aries soul. Although, you know, so many connections. England per se within Great Britain is ruled by Aries, and that's where the center, the capital is found in England, and England is an Aries country per se. Let's take a look at that. England and Aries. I think there's one reference to it. It has been thought by certain astrologers that Britain is ruled by Aries, and this is true of it as far as that small part which is called England is concerned. But he's looking at the British Empire as a whole and not with a fraction of it. It is the Gemini influence that has led to the constant movement and restlessness of the British people, even with that Taurian kind of resistance and refusal to move. But once, of course, the movement is undertaken, the momentum is very great. Well, there's so much about national psychology that DK is discussing. I think it would be a wonderful thing to be able to go through that book in an exhaustive fashion and see the interrelationships. But anyway, if students will study this information in connection with that given elsewhere, in connection with the other nations and cities, the interrelations now emerging in world affairs will be seen as a result of the play of these forces and energies, and therefore unavoidable. So certain alliances and repugnances, is there such a word, will be found in the world stage today, and there's quite a few nations that have not been given or assigned by the Tibetan any particular solar personality signs or solar personality rays, and they are increasingly big players on the world stage. Maybe we can figure some of this out for ourselves. The use of the energy may be along wrong lines, producing separation and trouble, or along right lines, leading to eventual harmony and understanding. That's what the right is in terms of our soul, secondary soul of our planet. But the energy is there and must make its effect in any case. As in the individual life, the result of the play of the life of the soul upon its form aspect, as in the individual, the results of the play of the life of the soul upon its form aspect, one or other of the rays will dominate and control. It may be the personality ray, it may be the soul ray. I wonder if there's any nation in today's world in which the soul is really dominating. There are probably nations in whom the soul and personality ray are battling with each other, and in whom the soul and personality sign are battling with each other. Now, we've been given all this information to create the various triangles of interaction, in which generally one point of the triangle will be dominant, and in which each of the three aspects will be found expressive. So if the person or nation is spiritually oriented, the result of the energy impact will be good and will lead towards the working out of the divine plan, and thus be wholly constructive. So we certainly do see nations who are attempting to work out their soul rays and their soul signs. We see in the United States at the moment a tremendous division along Geminian lines, dividing two types of ideologies, which we call liberal and conservative. So the ideologies on the personality level are fighting it out. But the larger unitive and universal secondary soul and Aquarian soul, we do believe will prevail in the long run. And of course, some people represent that unitive type of thought and tendency. And so it goes with all the different nations. Now, sometimes when nations share the same personality ray, it's not necessarily that they understand each other and are friendly, because they can have quite different ideals, and their ideals, let us say, if the sixth ray is shared, can fight with each other. Or if the warlike fourth ray, before it reaches the harmony phase, is shared by two nations, they may be in some way opponents. Or if the first ray is shared, we still have to see what's going to happen with the two great giants, who are India and China, both with first ray souls and both in a way carrying the bulk of the world population. I mean, together they have more than 2 billion people, and there's only 6 billion people on the planet. So they together fully make up 1/3 of the present world population. Where personality force dominates, the effect will be destructive and hindering to the emergence of divine purpose. And we have, to look at the axis powers there, with the fourth ray personality of Italy, and with the sixth ray personality of Japan, and the first ray personality 1, 6, and 4, all of them of Germany, all of them having the power to enter into conflict. You don't see the other rays so much entering into conflict. If you're looking for rays that are seen warring and fighting with each other, it's the first, sixth, and fourth ray. With Germany representing glamour, Italy illusion, and Japan the Maya. And of course their outer signs were important as well. The personality sign of Japan, Capricorn, and Pisces for Germany, and Sagittarius, I believe, for Italy. Let's just check that out. I believe it is the case. We have 3 references, and Italy is ruled by Sagittarius, the sign of the one-pointed disciple. And owing to it, we have the undeviating aim of the Italian state. Let's see here. Go a little further. Okay. I think I want to try that again and see if I can do that. Italy, Sagittarius. Yes, so there's 1 reference and then 2 references, Italy and Washington sharing this. How fascinating these interrelations between the countries. And there it is, Italy with the Sagittarian 6th ray personality, even though it's the, what are these? Yeah, excuse me, 4th ray personality. 4th ray personality, that is correct. Well, what a number of cross-references we could make, and I can see this in a future school of esoteric political science. I can see someone being presented with this chart and being asked to correlate the different soul and personality similarities and to discuss the implications of that correlation in terms of in terms of events that are working out on the world stage and potentials which might work out on the world stage. How fascinating it would be. Nevertheless, even destructive force can and finally does work toward good. We can say the personality ray can become a sub-ray of the, not sub-ray of the soul ray. But the trend of the evolutionary force is unalterable. It can be slowed down or speeded up according to the purpose, aspiration, and orientation of the entity, human or national. It can express soul purpose or personality selfishness. He really does dichotomize there, but there's a transitional phase, I'm sure, where there is the expression of a reoriented personality, but the urge towards betterment will inevitably triumph. I'm so fascinated by this interconnection of rays and of signs. In the year 2000, there was a conference in Toronto, and I was invited to attend, and I presented work on the destiny of the nations. And I think that's the last time that I seriously looked at all these correlations, but they've been hovering here below the surface, and the light of understanding of the divine pattern can really begin to dawn. The divine pattern as it works out through those little planetary centers that we call cities and countries. And it will make for a much more intelligent method of international relations. In the study of the science of triangles, the student must bear in mind that there is always one point of the triangle which, in a particular crisis or event in consciousness, is the emanating dynamic conditioning energy. Always one point of the triangle. Now, we've been shown that Geneva is in a way, the purest spiritual point in the New York-Tokyo-Geneva triangle, and that Darjeeling in the New York-London triangle with Darjeeling is the greatest spiritual point, but at different times and for different reasons, different points can be dominating, even if they are not eventually to be the superior or most spiritual point. During the cycle, great or small, major or minor, in which it thus controls the other 2 points, express receptivity and are regarded esoterically as embodying forces. In other words, they receive the main energy from the predominant point, whether or not that predominant point will ultimately be predominant. So every triangle is therefore the expression of one fundamental energy and two secondary forces, and even these secondary forces can be hierarchicalized. In other words, we have the first, second, and third ray. So we can look at they're not necessarily equivalent, these two embodying or secondary forces. They can be stratified with respect to each other. This is a basic statement of importance and the formulation of a law under which all the triplicities of energy function in time and space. So I'm going to make this bigger since it is a basic statement of importance. Every triangle is therefore the expression of one fundamental energy and of two secondary forces, but we also remember that every triangle is an expression of the three aspects of divinity primarily. So at any one point, any one of the aspects could be dominant, and the others can be stratified in a certain way. For instance, if the second ray aspect of a triangle were dominant, it would not necessarily mean that the first ray was second in importance and the third ray third in importance. It might be the other way around. Or with the first ray dominant, the third ray could be secondary in importance and the second ray tertiary in importance, and so it might go. We have to understand the function of these different centers at different times in the planetary history. So you can see how much planetary development, you can see how much the nature of the energies and their possible correlations has to be in the mind of those who are directing world affairs from behind the scenes and trying to evoke the highest potentials from situations which are oftentimes destructive and drastic. So he says you have consequently the following, okay, and maybe I can just read these before this particular hour-long section comes to an end. An emanating energy center, it has a dynamic expression. It's the dynamic expression of cyclic purpose. It has a positive qualified outgoing ray energy, whether this is planetary, systemic, zodiacal, or cosmic. And by systemic, I think he means solar. And this is the basis of hylozoistic living and expression. Everything is alive, and everything reflects the predominant center. You have a receptive. Now he's going to talk about these centers in terms of three rays, not just in terms of two receptive forces, which make them seem sort of isosceles in a way, two equivalent forces and one superior. But now he's going to speak in terms of the three rays. So DK will here discuss the three rays. So an emanating energy center which takes the place pretty much of the first ray. It doesn't have to be the first ray center, but it has sort of a dominant function. Then we have a receptive force center, an evocative expression of the initial impelling energy, that which has been evoked by the initial impelling energy. By impelling, we definitely mean it has to do with the first aspect. But we have to remember that any one of the points of the triangle can play the role of the first aspect at any particular time, even though it is not ultimately representing the first aspect. Okay. Well, for instance, if you look at the three super principles in cosmos at the present time, the first aspect is represented by Saturn, the second aspect by Jupiter, and the third aspect by Venus. But Saturn does, while it does have a first ray, it's the ultimate representation of the third aspect. So in some way, the third aspect within our solar system is still dominating, and the second aspect has to come into expression. So there's a receptive force center, an evocative expression of the initial impelling energy. A synthesis of two forces, the emanating and the receptive. I think in the diagram which shows us the triangle, this will be the triangle in motion. this will be what is being described. A qualified conditioning secondary energy. It is a motivating blended energy, neither positive nor negative, so it has that sort of a neutral electricity and is related in function to the second aspect of divinity. And then a responsive point of negative energy. Notice that there's a difference between receptive and responsive. Receptive seems a higher, it seems more interactive. Something can respond, but it doesn't necessarily interact. A responsive point of negative energy, a major center completing the grounding of the emanating energy, which has been mediated to it, I suppose, by the wisdom of the receptive aspect. Responsive mainly, however, to the second point of the triangle, because if we want to, it's no man cometh to the Father except through me, and the Father cometh to me through the Son. So when we talk about how does monadic energy reach us, it reaches us via the jewel in the lotus within the receptive middle center. Responsive mainly to the second point of the triangle, and humanity has been mainly responsive to hierarchy, but there can be some direct impacts, as we've seen with the Shambhala impacts. It's the source of a violent interplay between 2 points on the base line. So, yes, we're going to be shown here, I think. Let's just check this, because we may be getting very near the point where that particular triangle that is so important and showing the dynamics of triangular interplay will be displayed. Yes, it is. This is exactly where it happens. I would like to be able to copy this particular diagram and make it available if I can remember the method of doing that. Well, so we have some very important information given here, and this violent interplay between the second and third aspect, but it is okay, I'm going to put that more where it belongs, which is down here. It is caused, I suppose, more by the resistance of the third aspect. By the resistance and unreadiness of the third aspect of divinity. Well, I think it may be necessary to review some of this, because this is the very essence of the science of triangles. So let us use these major words: emanating or impelling, receptive, and responsive. Let's make those 3 words important, okay? Whoop. I just copied something that only should have been a bracket. All right. So, get rid of that and copy this. And we have emanating, receptive, and responsive. We have those 3 factors. We will review this. I see the necessity of reviewing this. We cannot pass this by without real emphasis. The emanating energy center, corresponding to the first aspect, dynamic, positive, in whatever sphere it may be occurring, from planetary to cosmic, and it is that which is reflected, hylozoistic. Well, it makes everything alive. Let's just say everything in cosmos is vitally and dynamically alive from this from the spirit center, representing life. Then receptivity, the second aspect, is always receptive. It is evoked from the initial impelling energy in a way. Is it the mother aspect? Is it the sun aspect? It depends on how you look at it. It is, in a way, more the sun aspect eventually. It synthesizes the emanating and receptive, and it represents a sevenfold quality. A conditioning secondary energy is like the soul ray when compared to the monadic ray. And it presents the motivating vision. It is a blending factor, and it gives us the neutral electricity. And over here we have, in the first aspect of the triangle, we have electric fire. Here in the second aspect of the triangle, we have solar fire. And in the third aspect of the triangle, which is responsive, and it holds in form that which is emanated and qualified. Okay, and I'll put it this way. That which is emanated, first aspect, and qualified, second aspect, is held or grounded in form. At the present time, it responds mainly to the second point of the triangle, just the way the personality responds mainly to the soul and not yet the monad. And because of its nature attuned to that which has not really gotten with the program yet, it hasn't gotten with the second aspect program, just the way so much of what is intended in the second solar system is resisted because of previous solar system conditioning. It's the source of the violent interplay. Yeah, this is marvelous, and we're going to discuss this in, I suppose, in considerable detail. All right, friends, I think we have reached, indeed we have, more than reached the point. This is the end of Esoteric Astrology Adventure number 120C. I don't think we've studied so many pages because we've been correlating. 460 and beginning. Okay, I'd like to put that properly. Of Esoteric Astrology 121A, page 460. We'll come back to this. Meanwhile, how interesting it is to see the practical outworking of all that which begins for practical purposes from the Great Bear, Sirius, and the Pleiades, and works its way right down into our continents, countries, and cities, which condition so much the way we live. All right, friends, that will be it for the moment, and we'll see you a little bit later with 121. Okay, bye-bye.